Hello. So I was recently talking to a friend, and it just came to my mind, that maybe people don't understand the Old Testament in its relationship to the New Testament so well, and especially not how healing comes into those things. So I'm just going to talk about that. So this video is called Covenants and Laws. All right. So a covenant's an oath or an agreement. Okay. And in the Bible, it's between God and man. God usually sets it up. Man chooses to follow it or not to. Okay. So in the New Testament, healing's in the atonement. It's available. Okay. And it's something we pursue in faith, and our whole walk with God is going to affect our health and affect his power moving through us, that and according to his will to heal us. And we have the opportunity to go and pursue this. And I've seen incurable diseases cured, many of them. And I've seen impossible things happen. Okay. So it's real, and God does it, and I don't think he picks and chooses. Okay, I think it's his nature. Okay, and I just think that it's very complicated and very difficult, and we reap what we sow, we reap what other people have sown too. Okay. A lot of times our health issues have a lot more to do with how we were brought up, our parents, our social standing. Our health actually has a lot to do with our social life, and also having to do with the fact that they pretty much poison our food nowadays in the Western world. And so, I'm not blaming any sick person for being sick. It's not your fault. Nobody chooses that, and it's not always unbelief that's the problem. Okay, but what I'm saying is it's available. And if you want to go after healing, you can go after it, and God wants you to, and he'll help you. Okay, and I've seen people not obtain healing, and I take some personal credit for failure, because as a guy who does this and teaches this, I expect myself to deliver, but I've not delivered at times, But if somebody wants to, seek me for help in teaching on healing, like, I'll, by all means, I'll help you, and I'll stand with you, and I'll believe that God definitely wants to heal you, because I see that in the Bible. And that's the New Testament. Okay, so let's talk about the Old Testament, though, because if you're going to read the Bible, if you're a Bible believing Christian, like, you should understand this. So in the New Testament, Jesus bought your healing 2,000 years ago on the cross. But before that, it was different. Okay, so it started with Abraham, who lived just agreeing with God by faith. Okay, but then when Moses came on the scene, there was a covenant put in place. Okay, and this covenant has promises for a long life. So Deuteronomy 6:24, okay, you might prosper and be kept alive. Deuteronomy 11:8-9, okay, that you may live a long life. Exodus 23:25-26, that he'll give you a full lifespan. Psalm 91:16, with a long life I'll satisfy him. And Psalm 90:10 defines a long life, 70 to 80 years. Okay, I know that was quick, but I'm just showing you, the scriptures as a whole aren't that important. I'm just, giving you snippets. That's four examples of a long life, and one example of what a long life looks like. Okay, so God gives promises in the Old Covenant for a long life. Okay, and healing's in the atonement. That's available in the New Covenant too. But again, please understand that the Old Covenant was for a whole country, okay? Not necessarily based on individuals, because there were laws for, like, a leper shouldn't go and hang out with other people. And if you have a contagious thing, you should quarantine. And if there's contagious mold on your house, go and burn the house, okay? Like, just simple stuff, like, just don't go be stupid and rub your boogers when you're sick on other strangers and make them sick. Like, common stuff. We understand how the health system, and if we work together in that, we can obtain better health. And that's part of the Old Covenant and the law, but also there's a supernatural aspect to it, and we'll look at some of this too. First off, please understand, God always upholds his covenant. Okay, he doesn't change, and he doesn't play favorites. So everything that's available to one person is available to everybody else. Okay, and a testimony one person holds is a testimony that anyone else can go and do too. Okay, and I'm not saying God doesn't, do things that are abnormal. Sometimes he does, but there's a normative thing that we see in the Bible, that God's a healer. Okay. Deuteronomy 7:9 says, Know therefore that the Lord your God, he is God, the faithful God, which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments. Okay? So God upholds does what he says he's going to do. Okay? Deuteronomy 28. All right, I'm going to do 1 and 2 and 58 through 60. So I'm going to kind of jump from the beginning to end of the chapter here. The beginning is just context, okay? So, now it shall be, if you diligently obey the Lord your God and be careful to do all his commandments, which I command you today, so follow God, right? The Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. So follow God and he'll bless you. And all these blessings will come upon you and overtake you if you obey the Lord your God. So again, obedience, okay? That's the old covenant was all about obedience, right? Verse 58 through 60. If you are not careful to observe all the words of this law which are written in this book, to fear this honored and awesome name, the Lord your God, then the Lord will bring extraordinary plagues on you and your descendants. Okay, so it's like dealing with a little kid. Hey, do this good thing, I'll give you a treat. Do this bad thing, and I'll give you a spanking. Okay, very simple. There's these blessings and cursings in the old covenant, and that's what you're seeing here. And the health of the people is dependent upon these things. And you see in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, like I said, those natural things, quarantining and, just being clean and healthy, like that stuff applies, okay? But in the old covenant, in the Old Testament law, they're culturally relevant things. The people had to understand it, and the people had to be willing to follow it. And it was a temporary thing that God set up with Moses to make these laws for people. So although these laws don't necessarily apply to us today, the concepts are still there, okay? So let's talk about the New Testament, all right, and why the Old Testament was there. You had, like, Abraham had a covenant of faith, then Moses had this covenant of law, and then Jesus went back to this covenant of faith. And so why the law in the middle, So Galatians is just an awesome book that explains it. So I'm going to read you a few snippets from Galatians 3 and 4. 3:13 says, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. So the law, that's for Jews, okay, not for Gentiles. The law was for Israel, Jews, not Gentiles. So he's talking specifically to, like, Jews in that place. Why are the Jews no longer under the law when they're in Christ? Well, the reason is because the blessings and cursings are there, but when Jesus took the penalty of sin and became a curse for us, he took the cursings away and left the blessings, okay? For the inheritance of the law, this is verse 18, for the inheritance of the law depends on the law. Then it no longer depends on the promise. I'm sorry, I misread that. For if the inheritance depends on the law, then it no longer depends on the promise. But God, in his grace, gave it to Abraham through a promise. So he's saying that the promise was to Abraham through faith, Abraham's faith. And that promise in Jesus came through faith, not law. Okay? Verse 19, why then was the law given at all? It was added because of transgression until the seed to whom the promise referred had come. So it was meant to give that child either a treat or a spanking so that they understand what's right and wrong until the full revelation of Jesus came. It was progressive revelation, okay? They didn't have a full understanding. The people and societies weren't fully matured. And so, they were still under this, like, little kids needing a tutor and a mentor, okay? And it says in verse 24, until Christ came that we might be fulfilled by faith. Now that faith has come, we are no longer under the guardian. Again, that word guardian means tutor, mentor, schoolmaster, school teacher. It's interpreted into those types of words. Verse 4:18, so if you're led by the Spirit, you're not under the law, okay? So Gentiles, non-Jews, are not under the law. They never were. It was always Abraham's promise being brought to fruition through Jesus, and the promise came through faith. For the Jews, they have that old covenant, but Jesus lifted the cursing, and now they're just under the new covenant, which has the blessings part. So the Old Testament gives those blessings, for those promises for a full lifespan and health if you follow them. And I believe we can take that into the New Testament, and we see that in the person of Jesus, and we see that in, James says the prayer of faith will raise the sick person to health. And we see that in the New Testament. So, they're still taking that context, the Old Testament, Old Covenant blessings, and bringing them into the New Testament. The laws of the Old Covenant are abolished, okay? And we see that here in Galatians, but they can be brought into the New Testament if the New Testament repeats those laws, okay, and brings them in. But also, you take in the blessings of the Old Covenant, and you take those as a concept, not necessarily a law. Now, it's not a definite regulation, but a concept of this is what it's like to live with God and to obey Him. And so all those promises for a new life, a long life, we can pull those into the New Testament and understand that this is ultimately God's will for us, okay? On top of the fact, I made a video called God's Views on Life and Death, and I bring a lot of these ideas into it, but I also point out at the beginning there's no death, and at the end there's no death. Even in the millennium on earth, when Jesus comes back a second time, people are going to live an extraordinarily long life, well over 100 years old, okay? And that's just because people are living God's way, both as a society and as individuals. And society helps keep each other healthy, preserve our health, not necessarily heal the sick, but preserve our health as a society, doing the right things for one another. And individuals walking in a way that's also preserving their health. People just won't be very sick in the millennium, if not sick at all, okay? And obviously in heaven there's no sickness and death. So we see God's will in these things. So we got to understand God's heart, and understanding the Bible it's complicated. There's a lot of different perspectives and covenants and rules and all this stuff, but keep it simple. I mean, a lot of God is just look into your own heart. He made you, He made your heart, and you live by faith and understanding your heart. Like, sickness isn't right. When a little kid gets sick, it's not right. It's not God, okay? So, follow God, and there's promises for healing, and there's hope for something better and more. So I just hope this blesses you, and I'm sorry if I talk too fast. I get really excited for this stuff. So just be blessed, and go after healing. It's available, okay? Amen.